What's up, everybody? It's the Sports Code, aka and welcome back to another video. This is the Manchester United versus Club Brugge match reaction. Sorry that this is around 24 hours or about I don't know, 20 hours late. I didn't have time to record it while I was at the resort. I had to drive home 13 hours, a long trip with my family. So hopefully you'll understand. But I'm still going to make it now. It's about 12:30 at night, and I feel like better late than never, you know? I may as well make one because I really have a lot of things to say. Now, when it comes to this match, it was extremely boring, to be honest. This match wasn't entertaining at all to watch. I had to wake up at 5 in the morning for this game, and it just wasn't worth my time, to be honest. I did watch it all because I'm a Man United fan. I have to watch the games, you know, if it kills me. I did watch the game. Before we get started into the actual review, if you guys enjoy the video, please like and subscribe, and let's get right into it. So when it comes to this game, there's a lot of things in my opinion that went wrong. Definitely the formation where it was wrong. Definitely this starting 11 was a bit iffy, and definitely the performance of the players was a bit iffy as well. Club Brugge, of course, are a decent team. We drew 1-1, by the way. That's the score. They're a decent team, but they weren't anything special today. They definitely were not anything special. I think we could have easily beaten them if we played the right players and we played the right formation. But nevertheless, we're in a decent position. It's not the best position to be in. The best position was probably to win 1-0 or 2-0, of course, or as high as you can. But I definitely don't see a 1-1 draw as a very bad position to be in. We have the away goal advantage. Now it's time to beat them at Old Trafford. We can't let them score. If they score first, we're going to be in serious trouble here, because that's when it's basically equalised, and then they have the advantage being 2-1 up. So we definitely need to win the game, and we should probably score first. I think that's going to be the goal when we go to Old Trafford. Let's score first. And hopefully we learn from our mistakes from this game, which I'll get into later on why I think certain mistakes happened and certain players were really needed today, and it just wasn't there. So we'll get started on the 11, the player ratings. We'll go to Romero. I think Romero gets a 5. I feel sorry for Romero. He didn't really do anything wrong. He did make a couple decent saves. He's a very good goalkeeper. But I'm giving him a 5 because he was at fault for the first goal and the only goal that they scored. I think a chip was definitely not a goal that they should have even had an opportunity to create. But they did. Romero was way off his line, and he was in no man's land. He was in a situation where either he ran or he went back, and he picked the wrong option pretty much. I think if he went back to his line, Brandon Williams, who was running back, could have had a say in the matter of whether that's a goal, a penalty, or whatever it would have been, a block shot. There was definitely a lot that Brandon Williams could have done that just he didn't have a chance to do, and the goal stands for Club Brugge. Goal from a mistake from Man United. That seems to be the typical when it comes to team scoring goals against us. It always seems to be our own doing. So yeah, 5. I think he played a decent game, but if you're going to be at fault for the goal, especially if you're a goalkeeper, you just didn't have a good game, really, because there's not much else he could have done other than that. So we'll go to Dalot now. I think Dalot had a pretty bad game as well. Close to being the worst player on the pitch. He turned the ball over way too much. His defense was poor. Attacking-wise, he didn't create anything. I'd give Dalot a 5. I think the majority of our defense was pretty bad today, to be honest, and he's no exception. But by no means does this mean we have to drop him. We must keep him in the lineup. We must keep him fit and ready, because squad rotation is key to all of the competitions that we're still in. The Premier League top 4, the Europa League, and the FA Cup. We need rotation, and I think Dalot is crucial to that, because Wan-Bissaka cannot play every game. It's just not going to happen. Something will end up going wrong. We can't take that chance, especially when we're in serious competitions. You have to pick and choose when to play your best players, and today we chose Dalot. And I think if it was me, I would have stuck by that decision. He didn't have a good game, but it just happens with young players. He's 20 years old. He's my age, really. Like, it's you can't expect the world from a player when he doesn't get a lot of game time. He's going to be inconsistent. He's not going to be in form. and it sucks, but it does happen. And I think the way to improve that is to give him more game time. Let's play him in the next match against Club Brugge. Play him against Derby County in the FA Cup. Play him against Watford. Don't play him against Watford, but play him. Just play him more, and he will get better. Same with Eric Barley. Same with all of our players that got a chance today and just didn't perform. I think if you give them more opportunities, for some players at least who haven't been given many opportunities, like Delo, if you give him more opportunities, I believe he'll succeed. So 5 for Delo, but I definitely think that there's still more to see from him. To Lindelof also gets a 5. I think Harry Maguire and Lindelof, their partnership is just not working out at the moment. I think they're both too slow. I think we need a pacey defender, the likes of Twanzebe or Eric Barley come to mind. Just a defender that can pace, get a good recovery tackle. A lot of turnovers from both Lindelof and Maguire today, and I think the recovery in many circumstances it's not up to the standard of a Manchester United team. If you make a mistake, the recovery speed is crucial. It's vital. It's in every team. You need to have recovery tackles. You need to have a recovery speed. You need to be able to fix your mistakes as quickly as possible. And with Victor Lindelof, he's a very smart, intelligent player. So those opportunities for a turnover don't happen a lot, but in this game they did happen, and I just think the reaction was poor. I think Lindelof had a bad game, so I'm going to give him a 5. It's also, I just want to say, it's not necessarily all his fault. I definitely think the formation didn't do him justice today. I think with Lindelof, he's very good at passing out from the back. That's what we got him for, really. He's a fantastic passer of the ball. He could even take a free kick or two. If we give him the opportunity, he can do it. So, we needed probably more midfielders to actually have him pass the ball to, because he just seems to be just kicking it to no one, really. And the 3-5-2 didn't help that situation at all. I think it's just an adapting system for our players. We played it a couple of times against the bigger teams, and it just it worked out then. It didn't work out tonight against a smaller team. It wasn't necessary to play tonight. We didn't need to do it, but we did do it, and it ended up costing us. And Lindelof ended up being one of the main faults for that, especially in the defence. And Harry Maguire's the same. He gets a 5 as well. I might be a little bit too harsh with these ratings, but Club Brugge is not a team that that makes me believe that we played well tonight because of how good they were. They weren't good at all, and it just reflected on how bad we played as well. So definitely, the defense, majority of defense gets a 5, and Harry Maguire's no exception to that. He's our captain. He has his moments, but he did get done a lot tonight. That cross where it went past all of our defenders and it went right to the Club Brugge player. I don't know their player's name, so I'm sorry if you're expecting a player-by-player analysis. But they ended up missing the opportunity. It went wide, but Harry Maguire got pretty much done in both occasions when that cross went in, and we just need better. I know he's in a situation he doesn't want to be in. There's not really much he could do, but at the same time, there's just so much improvement there in our back line that we need. And I definitely think maybe playing Victor Lindelof and Harry Maguire in certain games might not be enough. If you have a pacey striker, I don't see those two going well together. If you're versing a Brighton, let's say, and you have Chris Wood up front, and he's not a pacey player, and it's fine. I think Lindelof and Maguire will work very well in that situation. But for a team with a pacey striker like Club Brugge, I definitely think it ended up giving away too many opportunities for them, and maybe that's something we need to look into for the next game. Moving on to Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw gets a 7.5 from me. I think Luke Shaw was man of the match, so if anybody believes Luke Shaw's man of the match, there you go. Congratulations to him. He played pretty much. He was the best player, pretty much. Not by much, but he still was the best player in my opinion. The best centre back today. I think 3 at the back is really it's doing him justice. He's thriving in that formation, but I don't see that formation working out against teams like this. And if that means sacrificing Luke Shaw, to play Brandon Williams or vice versa, then I think we need to do it. I don't see how, especially in the coming games against Watford, I don't see playing a 3-5-2 against Watford to work out in our favour. And I hope we don't do it. I hope we could just go back to a 4-2-3-1 or to a 4-3-3, and let's just attack them, because that's the best form of defence for Manchester United, is our attack. And if we can attack teams will be scared to come at us, and they will catch us on a counter attack. And I think we can handle that. We've got very good defenders. It just all depends, really. Like, it's a two-way street. Like, if you go defensive, you're not going to be able to attack properly. If you go to attack, you might concede a goal here and there. Much rather play attacking and concede a goal than play defensive and not score, because it just ends up being more fun that way. It ends up being a better game to watch. I'd love to see Man United attack the ball more instead of going on counter attack all the time. But yeah, Luke Shaw gets a 7.5. He was fantastic tonight. His defense was solid. He ended up attacking a lot as the third centre back, pushing through the defense's lines, making runs, passing, creating opportunities. All of that. Luke Shaw did it all today. But I just think because of how badly the team played, I don't think it deserves higher than a 7.5 in my opinion. And we'll move on to Brandon Williams. I think this was the worst game from Brandon Williams that we've seen, which is not a terrible thing. But he gets a 5, by the way. It's not a terrible thing. He's so young, and the fact that he didn't have a bad game leading up to this, it just shows what a quality player he is. There's always going to be a bad game for every player, no matter how great they are. Someone's going to have a bad game. So Brandon Williams have a bad game, it's not a big deal to me. I don't see it as a bad thing. Same with Delo. He's such a good player, Brandon Williams. Such a good left back. He is such a good left back. And I'm going to give him the time that he needs. Anybody that is bashing Brandon Williams, I just have to ask, why would you do that? Like, seriously, he's been so important to us since coming in. He was a guy that no one really knew in our youth setup, and now he's our starting left back within months. And he's our best left back. Like, Luke Shaw and Brandon Williams have serious competition between each other, and they're both equally as good as another. Like, that left back position is sorted. That was a time when we needed to get Alexandra, we needed to get Ben Chilwell, we needed to get Alex Tellez, we needed to get all these left backs to fill that spot, and we don't need to do that anymore. I honestly think our left back spot for now is sustainable until we focus on other positions, and that's great to see. It's great to see, and especially both of them being English, both of them being understanding Manchester United, being a part of the youth setup in Brandon Williams' case, and Luke Shaw building up the ranks in the English leagues. There's so much good positive signs for both of them, and I'm really happy that they're both playing and they're both in good competition. So bad games here and there, I'm not going to take that as they're terrible players, because they're not. Both of them are not terrible players, and they both deserve chances and opportunities, because every bad game they play 3 good games. We need to consider that, especially with a lot of our players as well. So I don't see this bad game being too negative towards Brandon Williams, or being too damaging to him or his reputation, or whatever you want to say about Brandon Williams. Yeah, that's it, really. Moving on into the midfield, Matic probably gets a 7. I don't think he did anything wrong. He just does his normal stuff. That's basically what it is. Can't hate on the guy for doing that. There's not really much to say about Matic, honestly, because we did have most of the possession, so he didn't really do anything. But he played decent today. Yeah, we'll go to Andreas Pereira. And Andreas Pereira, for me, gets a 4. I think he was definitely the worst player on the pitch. I don't really know necessarily where he played. Like, he played all over the place. But I don't know. I don't really know what to say about Andreas Pereira. Maybe it's because it's been a day already, but I can't really remember anything good that he did. He had one shot on goal. I definitely remember that, and it went wide. I just think he's not in the game as much as he needs to be for a CDM. And he was a CDM, and he didn't play good as a CDM. Maybe if you're going to play a 4-2-3-1, you could have moved Mata out to the wing and put Pereira at cam, and he could have been in the game more. I definitely feel like he could have had a better game if he was further up on in the pitch. But at the end of the day, that's Ollie's fault for playing him there, and that's Andreas' fault for not capitalising on any opportunity that's given to him at the moment. He said in the press conference, Andreas, he's happy that the coach is giving him faith to play games, and yes, that's right. Ollie is giving him faith, and he's giving him opportunities, but it's only a matter of time until those opportunities stop. And he's so young, and I think majority of the fans do like him, but it's only a matter of time before your opportunities stop and you're just going to be judged on your recent performances. And that's already starting to happen. We can't focus on how good you will be when you need to focus on how good you are now. And it's the same for a lot of players. And Andreas is one of the prime examples. But I'm not going to go too deep in on Andreas Pereira. I know he's had a rough time as of late with his mental issues and how he's dealing with them. So I'm just going to say I just hope he improves. That's all I want to say about that. Same with Jesse Lingard, who was next. Jesse Lingard gets a 5. He didn't do anything really. I love Jesse Lingard's effort, but I just don't think he has much in terms of the final third anymore. I don't really see him creating opportunities. He had one shot on goal, to I remember, which went straight to the keeper. Which, other than that, I didn't see him make a killer pass to anybody in on goal. And that's not necessarily just his fault. Of course, it's the other players' fault for not making runs, but it is primarily his fault because he always plays the safe pass. I never saw him take a risk, never saw him run, take on players, which is what he did 2 years ago. He took on a lot of players. I just feel like with Jesse Lingard, it's kind of a neutral basis between the fans and him. I don't think he's performing up to the level that he wants, and I don't think the fans are taking to him at all. So at the end of the day, I think Jesse Lingard, it's slowly getting time, and it's coming, the time for him to go. And we'll see what happens with that. I like Jesse Lingard. If he stays, I wouldn't mind. I don't mind him being on the bench. But I just slowly think fans are starting to understand, as well as Jesse Lingard. It's just time for both of them to part ways, and we'll see where it goes. And I'll respect either or, whatever happens, I'll respect it. And yeah, he gets a 5. He was just invisible, really. I respect his effort, but it just didn't appeal to anything. We'll move on to Mata. I think Mata gets a 6, and the only reason I'm giving him a 6 is because of the last 10 minutes. If it wasn't for the last 10 minutes, I think Mata would have got a 4. I think he was almost as bad as Andreas, because he wasn't tracking back. He didn't really get the ball in areas where he needed to be. He just wasn't. He was more non-existent than Jesse Lingard for the majority of the game. But the last 10 minutes, when the substitutions came on and we attacked more, Mata was the best player on the pitch besides one, which I'll get to. And he was incredible for those last 10 minutes. It's just a shame that it took 3 substitutions and a change of formation for Mata to excel in a team like this. And it was too little too late. So I definitely think a 5 is fair, or you people could say 6 because of just how well he did play. 5 is fair in my eyes. I hope we get to see more of that Mata. If we keep changing the formation to a 4-2-3-1, we will see the best of Mata. We will see a Cam that could do a job off the bench and could do jobs in the Europa League. Playing him on the wing is unacceptable. It just is. It just should not happen again. If we're playing counter-attacking football, Matt is not the guy to be on the right wing running at players. It's not going to work. Matt is the guy to pick the pass, to create the pass for a fast break. And 5. And Martial gets a 7. He scored the goal. I think he played pretty decent. A lot of opportunities. A lot of runs into the defense. I think he worked extremely hard to get his goal off of the mistake of the defender. It was good instincts, and it was a very tidy finish. Another world-class goal from Martial, and the 7 is fair. Don't think he did anything extraordinary besides the goal. And I think if you score a goal, you get a 7 most likely, because unless you had a terrible game until then, which he didn't, I think 7's a fair score. And that's the starting 11. We'll go to the bench. Uh, to be honest, I don't really remember much of the bench, but I do remember one player, and it was Bruno Fernandes. And when he came on, things changed like that. He was on fire. He was creating chances. He was passing balls that I've never seen a Man United player do so well. He nearly gave Mata a goal and he was offside. He was playing balls left, right, and center, and I think he was having a lot of fun playing, and that's what you want. You want a Man United player to have fun while they play. When you are at your best, it's when you're enjoying yourself. I think Bruno Fernandes had a lot of space to enjoy himself and really appreciate. We got to appreciate his game today. I think that was the best game he's played, besides not getting a goal or an assist, and he only played for 10 minutes. He will get better. Andreas said it. I'm saying it. He will get better as time goes on, and today will prove it. Hopefully, Watford, he'll prove it again. He's a player. He's a class player. We'll give him time. He will get where he needs to go, and he will help us a lot. And I really rate Bruno Fernandes. I would have given him man of the match if he actually played beyond 10 minutes. So I'm going to give him a 7 just because I think Luke Shaw deserves man of the match for the 90-minute performance. Igalo played as well, and Igalo honestly was non-existent that entire game. He had a couple of plays where he turned the ball over. He didn't really get an opportunity to shoot on goal. I guess you could say he didn't really get the ball either. So it's a two-way street here. I think with Igalo, he's definitely the type of player that needs good service. Because if he doesn't get his service, I don't think he's going to be in the game at all. He's a centre forward after all. He's not the one that creates the opportunities. He's the one that puts them away. So maybe you need to see more Bruno Fernandes and Igalo playing together to help build that partnership up. Because I think with Martial, you could get a goal created by him. I don't think you could do that with Igalo. I think he's definitely a centre forward. I don't think he's a creator by any stretch of the means, but we'll see how that goes. It's only one game, so Igalo gets a 6, and for the life of me, cannot remember the other substitute. I'm sorry, whoever that was. I didn't really notice you. It was Fred. Yeah, it was Fred. I think Fred gets a 6 as well, but with Fred, you could definitely see a difference. And I swear when I say this, I know I just said I forgot about him, but I really wanted to say we miss Fred today. We actually missed Fred from the start, and I wish Fred started. And I know he gets his rest, and that's fine. We're not in a bad situation, but if Fred started, I definitely think we win this game. He brings so much to us, and I think a lot of fans will probably understand it now how much we truly miss him when he's not playing. I love Fred, and I love how successful he's been, and I love his story. And it brings a lot of joy when he plays, and he does well. And today he got time, he made an impact, but unfortunately it just wasn't enough to really get a win. So a 6 is fair. Fred will probably start against Watford, which is great. I can't wait to see him play again. I think you'll see a different team with Fred on the pitch. Fred was on that pitch when we were starting at the very start for 90 minutes. I definitely see us winning 2-1, 3-1. Like he's that important to us. And I know he's not even an attacking midfielder, but he just does everything for us to the point where he might not be the one creating the goals, but he's definitely the one that's passing it to the guy that's creating the goals. And I think sometimes we need that just as much as the creator itself. That's the team. When it comes to Ollie, the 3-5-2 was poor. 4-2-3-1 was probably the way to go here. 3 at the back against Club Brugge is atrocious in my opinion. It should have never happened. He got asked a question about the 3-5-2 and he said it's good to play in certain games. This was not the game to play it in. And whoever asked that question, fair play. It was a very good question, but I think kind of maybe triggered Ollie to play it. I don't think it was the right formation to play, and I hope he doesn't do it next week. Let's attack these guys more. And he gets for his actual lineup, I think he gets a 6. But for his tactics, he gets a 4, and for the performance, he gets a 5. It's in between. It was nothing a 7 or anything like that. And yeah, that's it when it comes to the match review. We've got Watford next, I believe. a very important game. Top four is still a fight that we are in, and it's interesting to find out what are we going to prioritize, the Europa League or the top four. And hopefully we have the opportunity to actually prioritize, because if Club Brugge can very much beat us next week, we can't deny that fact that there is a chance we lose this tie. And I hope to God that that doesn't happen. I'm very confident it won't happen, but there is a chance, and we've got to see that chance. There's been a lot of upsets in the Champions League and the Europa League. Ajax lost, PSG lost, Tottenham got destroyed, even though it was 1-0. They got embarrassed, really, in their own home ground. And Valencia as well. A lot of teams are upsetting the big teams in the first leg, the Europa League and the Champions League. So we need to understand the fact that this is a possibility. And I think next week we need to bring out our strongest team and let's deal with them. Let's get them out of the way, and hopefully we could get a good tie next. But let's not look past them. Anyway, thanks for watching. FIFA gameplay will be back for anybody that's missing that. So the Watford review will probably be a FIFA gameplay. You won't see this for that preview. This is the Sports Code. Please like and subscribe. Turn notifications on. Take care. Peace.